Ladies and gentlemen, hip-hop has just witnessed one of the most mind-blowing moments in music history. Kendrick Lamar, the lyrical genius from Compton, has officially broken the internet and the record books by selling over 1 million tickets for his latest tour. This isn't just a victory, it's a statement. Fans across the globe are scrambling to grab seats, and the energy is unlike anything we've seen in recent years. But what really has the internet buzzing? The reaction from none other than Drake and his massive fan base. While Drake has long been considered the undisputed king of streams and chart domination, this sudden move by Kendrick has shaken the balance of power. Today, we're diving deep into the shocking numbers, the fan reactions, the hidden rivalry, and why this moment might just change the entire landscape of hip-hop forever. Buckle up, this is going to get wild. When the news first dropped that Kendrick Lamar had officially sold 1 million tickets for his upcoming tour, the hip-hop world didn't just pause, it exploded. Headlines lit up across every major platform. Kendrick breaks records. Lamar outsells the competition. The king of conscious rap goes global. For years, people debated whether Kendrick's artistry could match up against the sheer commercial dominance of Drake, but now the numbers are speaking louder than any diss track. This isn't just a record, it's a revolution. Fans on Twitter, or X, as Elon Musk likes to remind us, immediately started flooding the timeline with jaw-dropping reactions. One user wrote, 1 million tickets? Drake could never. Kendrick Lamar just silenced the whole industry. Another fired back, don't forget Drake sells out stadiums in minutes. This is nothing new. The debates quickly turned into all-out digital warfare, with #Kendrick vs Drake trending worldwide. But let's break down why this moment feels so different. Unlike Drake, who's always had the reputation of being a commercial juggernaut, Kendrick has built his empire on depth, lyricism, and cultural influence. He's not the guy constantly dropping singles to chase streams, he's the one who makes you wait, then delivers something that feels timeless. When Kendrick announced this tour, nobody could have predicted it would explode into a million-ticket frenzy. That's not just numbers, that's movement-level energy. What really shocked fans, though, was the speed at which the tickets vanished. In some major cities, pre-sale tickets sold out within minutes. Screenshots of waitlists, failed purchase attempts, and inflated resale prices started circulating online, leaving fans furious and amazed at the same time. One post read, "I tried 3 devices and still couldn't get Kendrick tickets. This is worse than trying to cop sneakers on release day." And honestly, that comparison isn't far off, because this wasn't just a concert drop, it felt like a cultural event. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The ripple effect of Kendrick's milestone didn't just stay with his fans, it immediately triggered shockwaves in the camp of Drake. For over a decade, Drake has comfortably sat at the top when it comes to commercial performance. From breaking Spotify streaming records to dominating Billboard charts, he's been the benchmark for numbers. So when Kendrick suddenly pushed into million-ticket territory, fans started asking the forbidden question, has Kendrick finally dethroned Drake? The online chatter got louder when fans began posting side-by-side comparisons of both artists' recent tours. Drake's It's All a Blur tour was undeniably massive, but some were quick to argue that Kendrick's ticket sales, given his less mainstream, more artistic positioning, were actually more impressive. Think about it, Drake's audience is vast, casual, and global. Kendrick's audience is fiercely loyal, deeply invested, and willing to travel across states just to hear him rap. Selling 1 million tickets under those circumstances? That's not just numbers, that's a flex on the highest level. Even media outlets couldn't resist stirring the pot. Entertainment blogs dropped headlines like, "Kendrick breaks the mold, Drake fans in denial. The new king? Lamar's million-ticket statement. Drizzy shocked into silence." Notice the framing, every story kept circling back to Drake. Because let's face it, without the Drake comparison, this wouldn't hit as hard. Fans are invested not just in Kendrick's success, but in the ongoing rivalry between these two rap giants. The public doesn't just want to see Kendrick win, they want to see if Drake loses. And here's the kicker, Drake himself hasn't made an official statement. His silence is fueling even more speculation. Some fans argue that he's just biding his time, planning a counterflex with new music or another tour. Others say the silence is the answer, that maybe even Drake didn't see this coming. The phrase, "Drake speechless," started trending with memes, GIFs, and endless TikToks showing people's reactions to the news. Imagine an entire fandom trying to interpret a man's silence, that's how seismic this moment is. But let's not ignore the numbers beyond tickets. Resale markets are exploding. Some Kendrick tickets that originally sold for $120 are already being flipped for $800 or more on secondary sites. That level of demand doesn't just mean fans are excited, it means Kendrick has reached a new level of cultural and economic influence. Whenever people are willing to spend that much just to experience your art live, you've officially transcended the normal boundaries of the music industry. And the conversation isn't just about tickets or tours, it's about legacy. Kendrick has always been the critical darling, the Pulitzer-winning poet of rap, the guy your favorite rapper probably respects. But now he's proving he can play the commercial numbers game too. That combination, artistic respect plus mass market success, is what makes legends. That's what makes people compare you to icons like Tupac, Jay-Z, or Eminem. And Kendrick is standing right at that threshold. Meanwhile, Drake fans are split. Half of them are brushing it off, claiming Drake's dominance is untouchable. The other half are starting to wonder if the tide is turning. One viral post said, "Drake made rap fun, but Kendrick just made rap historic." Whether you agree or not, the fact that people are even framing it that way shows how big this moment is. And if you think the industry isn't watching closely, think again. Labels, streaming platforms, and rival artists are all paying attention. Because if Kendrick Lamar can sell 1 million tickets without dropping multiple singles, flooding the charts, or pandering to trends, that means the power dynamics of the industry are shifting. Artists who value depth and longevity might suddenly feel more empowered. The message is clear, you don't have to play by the industry's rules to win, you just need the respect of your audience. So part 1 of this story is simple, Kendrick Lamar didn't just sell tickets, he sold a statement. A statement so loud that even at Drake, the most dominant commercial rapper of our era, has been left in the shadows, at least for now. Hashtag Kendrick Lamar, hashtag Drake, hashtag hip hop news, hashtag music industry, hashtag Kendrick vs Drake, hashtag tour life, hashtag rap culture at Kendrick Lamar at Champagne Poppy. If part 1 was about Kendrick Lamar breaking records, then part 2 is about the fallout, the rivalry that the hip hop world can't stop talking about. Kendrick Lamar versus at Drake. This isn't some random internet beef. This is a decade-long tension that has been bubbling under the surface, exploding every once in a while through subliminal shots, features, and fan speculation. And now, with Kendrick selling 1 million tickets and headlines painting Drake as speechless, the rivalry has officially entered its most intense chapter yet. Let's rewind the clock for a second. Back in 2013, Kendrick dropped his infamous verse on Control, where he called out nearly every rapper in the game, including at Drake. That moment was seismic. Kendrick wasn't just flexing, he was declaring war on mediocrity, challenging rappers to step up. While many brushed it off as competitive sport, the tension between Drake and Kendrick never really went away. Fast forward through the years, and we've seen subtle shots fly back and forth. Drake's bars about being number one and never losing to a conscious rapper were seen as jabs. Kendrick, on the other hand, is the type to bury messages in layered metaphors, leaving fans dissecting his verses for hidden shots at Drizzy. This cold war of words became one of hip-hop's most intriguing storylines, and fans ate it up. But here's the truth, no matter what side you're on, the numbers never lied. For years, Drake was the king of streaming, the king of charts, and the king of selling out arenas. Kendrick was the king of critical acclaim, respect, and artistry. They were like two monarchs ruling different kingdoms. Until now. Kendrick's 1 million ticket milestone has blurred those lines. Suddenly, he's not just the critical darling, he's pulling commercial power moves on Drake's level. That's why people are saying this moment feels like a shift in the crown. What's wild is how the fanbases have taken this rivalry to new heights. Drake supporters argue that numbers don't lie, pointing to his dominance on Spotify, Apple Music, and Billboard. Kendrick fans counter by saying Kendrick doesn't need to flood the charts, his work has more substance, more replay value, and now, clearly, more demand in the live arena. Memes of Drake crying and Kendrick carrying hip-hop are going viral on TikTok and Instagram. The hashtags #TeamDrake and #TeamKendrick are everywhere. And then there's the industry perspective. Music insiders have long whispered about Drake being the machine, backed by major label power, constant releases, and a formula that guarantees hits. Kendrick, in contrast, takes years between projects, rarely chases trends, and focuses on artistry over playlists. So when Kendrick outpaces expectations with such massive ticket sales, it feels like David slaying Goliath. But let's not act like Drake is out of the fight. If history tells us anything, it's that Unpacking knows how to respond. He thrives on competition, and whenever someone threatens his spot, he doubles down. Remember the Meek Mill beef? People thought Drake was done, and then he came back with back-to-back, solidifying his reputation as a battle-tested hitmaker. The question now is, will Drake respond to Kendrick's dominance with music, a bigger tour, or something entirely unexpected? Fans are speculating non-stop. Some believe Drake will drop a surprise project aimed at reclaiming headlines. Others think he'll announce another tour to prove he can still outsell anyone. And the most dramatic theory? That Drake might finally release a direct diss track aimed squarely at Kendrick Lamar. If that happens, the internet will literally melt down. But here's where it gets even crazier. Kendrick doesn't even need to respond in the traditional sense. His silence, his mystery, his aura, it all plays into his image. When Kendrick does speak, it's through art. If Drake throws a punch, Kendrick will likely respond in the most unexpected, layered, and devastating way possible, like he always does. That's why fans are on edge. This rivalry isn't just about numbers, it's about artistry versus popularity, depth versus dominance, respect versus reach. The irony is, both artists have achieved things the other might envy. Drake probably craves the level of critical respect Kendrick commands. Kendrick might envy the global reach Drake enjoys. But when they collide, fans see it as a clash of titans, the two sides of hip-hop's crown going head-to-head. And make no mistake, the culture is thriving on this tension. Every time Kendrick wins, Drake fans mobilize. Every time Drake drops, Kendrick fans dissect it. This back and forth fuels conversations, trends, and debates that keep hip-hop alive. As long as this rivalry exists, the culture wins. But what makes this particular moment so shocking is the optics. Drake has always been the one ahead in commercial battles. Kendrick flipping the script with 1 million tickets is a disruption. It's a statement that maybe, just maybe, the balance of power is shifting. Some industry commentators are even going as far as saying, this is Kendrick's coronation. That's dramatic, sure, but think about it. How often do you see an artist maintain credibility, respect, and cross into commercial superstardom at this scale? It's rare. And it's dangerous for anyone standing in his way, including Drake. Fans are demanding a response. Twitter threads are filled with mentions like, "At Unpacking don't stay quiet too long, we need the 6 God response." At Kendrick Lamar just snatched the crown, what's next? This is hip-hop history. Someone call it complex, at XXL, at hot new hip-hop. The memes alone could fill an entire documentary. From people editing Kendrick's face onto royalty crowns, to Drake being photoshopped into shocked reaction gifs, it's comedy gold, but also a reflection of just how seriously fans are taking this moment. And it's not just fans. Other rappers are chiming in too. Some are congratulating Kendrick, while others are slyly suggesting that Drake needs to remind people who the king is. The industry is quietly picking sides, and when artists pick sides, that's when rivalries hit historic levels. So what happens next? Nobody knows for sure. But one thing is clear, Kendrick Lamar's ticket milestone didn't just break records, it reignited the greatest rivalry in modern hip-hop. And with Drake still silent, every second feels like the calm before a storm. If history repeats itself, we're on the verge of one of the most dramatic hip-hop chapters ever. Whether it's a diss, a surprise drop, or another record-breaking announcement, this battle isn't over. In fact, it might just be beginning. Hashtag Kendrick vs Drake, hashtag hip-hop history, hashtag rap beef, hashtag music drama, hashtag KDOT, hashtag Drizzy, hashtag breaking news at Kendrick Lamar at Champagne. When news of Kendrick Lamar's 1 million ticket milestone broke, the internet didn't just react, it went into a frenzy. Fans, bloggers, influencers, and even casual listeners transformed the story into one of the biggest cultural talking points in music this year. It wasn't just about numbers, it was about what those numbers meant. And the reactions? Absolutely wild. Let's start with Twitter/X, the digital battlefield where fanbases clash in real time. Within hours of the announcement, hashtag Kendrick Lamar, hashtag KDOT, and hashtag Drake vs Kendrick were trending worldwide. Some tweets praised Kendrick for finally being recognized as not just a lyrical genius but a global superstar. One viral post read, "Kendrick just proved you can stay true to yourself, rap with substance, and still outsell the so-called chart kings." The post racked up over 200,000 likes and retweets, symbolizing how fans saw this as a win for authentic hip-hop. Meanwhile, Drake fans weren't backing down. Memes popped up with captions like, "Y'all forgot Drake sold out multiple stadium tours in record time." Another read, "Congrats to Kendrick, but don't ever forget it, Champagne still runs summer every year." The back and forth became entertainment in itself, with fan-made videos, animated edits, and even AI-generated diss songs circulating like wildfire. TikTok, of course, turned the rivalry into pure content gold. Creators uploaded reaction videos of themselves screaming when they heard Kendrick's sales figures. Skits showed people breaking up with Drake and switching teams to Kendrick. Some even parodied the resale chaos, filming themselves pretending to cry after paying $900 for a Kendrick ticket. The hashtag Kendrick 1 million started climbing in views, reaching millions within days. The cultural hype was undeniable. But it wasn't just fans making noise, the media picked up the firestorm and poured gasoline on it. Outlets like at Complex, at XXL, at Billboard, and at Rolling Stone all published pieces analyzing the sales, comparing Kendrick's numbers with Drake's, and questioning what this meant for the future of hip-hop. Some headlines were sensational. Kendrick's million-ticket flex, a new king in town. Drake's silence speaks volumes amid Lamar frenzy. The internet declares Kendrick the people's champ. These headlines weren't just reporting, they were instigating, fanning the flames of competition, and keeping fans glued to every update. What's fascinating is how the general public, even people who aren't die-hard hip-hop fans, started paying attention. Suddenly, Kendrick vs Drake wasn't just a rap story, it was pop culture. Talk show hosts mentioned it, sports personalities tweeted about it, and even celebrities from outside music chimed in. One NBA player tweeted, "Kendrick just sold 1 million tickets. That's MVP level. Respect." Another celebrity posted, "This Kendrick vs Drake thing feels like Jordan vs LeBron." And let's not forget the impact on the streets. Outside of social media, fans were lining up outside box offices, camping overnight just to secure tickets. In cities like Los Angeles and New York, the buzz was so massive that local news channels covered the frenzy, showing footage of long lines, disappointed fans who missed out, and scalpers flipping tickets for outrageous prices. The cultural shockwave went deeper than just hype, though. To many fans, this felt symbolic, a turning point in hip-hop's identity. For years, the industry narrative painted Drake as the mainstream king, while Kendrick was the underground genius, who was critically adored but commercially niche. Selling 1 million tickets shattered that stereotype. Fans began posting think pieces on Reddit and Instagram carousels saying, "This proves you don't have to compromise your art to succeed." That message resonated far beyond hip-hop. It became an inspiration across creative industries. What's even crazier is how Kendrick's success started influencing other artists' fanbases. Fans of J. Cole, Travis Scott, and even Kanye began drawing parallels, debating who could reach the same milestone. Some Cole fans claimed, if Cole ever announced a world tour like this, he'd sell out just as fast. Meanwhile, Travis fans argued that the Astroworld hype had already proven his tour power. The point? Kendrick's ticket milestone reignited competition across the board, forcing everyone to measure themselves against his achievement. And while the fans celebrated, critics dissected. Music journalists pointed out that Kendrick's success wasn't just about raw numbers, it was about trust. Fans trust Kendrick to deliver an experience worth their money. They know when they buy a ticket, they're not just watching a performance, they're witnessing a cultural event. That trust is rare in today's oversaturated industry, and it's why people are willing to spend hundreds just to be in the room. On the flip side, Drake fans continued their defense. They argued that Drake's appeal is broader, he can rap, sing, and drop pop hits that chart globally. Some even said, Kendrick might win this battle, but Drake still owns the war. That idea, that Drake's long-term dominance is still unmatched, kept debates alive, ensuring no side could claim a total victory. Another layer to the cultural impact? The silence of Drake. Fans and media alike are obsessing over the fact that Champagne Poppy hasn't made a public statement. Every Instagram story he posts is overanalyzed. Every tweet he doesn't send becomes a headline. It's almost as if Kendrick's win has forced Drake into a position where even silence is newsworthy. And in hip-hop, silence can sometimes be louder than words. Meanwhile, Kendrick hasn't gloated, bragged, or posted victory laps. Instead, he's let the numbers speak for themselves. That calm confidence has amplified the respect fans already have for him. It's the classic, speak softly, carry a big stick, strategy, and it's working. The cultural shockwave is so massive that even brands and corporations are noticing. Ticketmaster's servers crashing became a meme. Nike accounts retweeted fan reactions comparing Kendrick tickets to sneaker drops. Streaming platforms like Spotify posted congratulatory graphics. When big business starts joining the conversation, you know something has shifted. In the end, the fan reactions and cultural impact of Kendrick's ticket milestone go far beyond rap. This is a story about underdogs flipping the script, about artistry challenging mainstream formulas, and about fans rallying behind authenticity. The fact that millions are engaged in the Kendrick versus Drake debate shows how much hip-hop dominates today's cultural conversation. And here's the truth, this isn't dying down anytime soon. As long as Drake stays silent, and Kendrick stays winning, fans will keep fueling the fire, turning every update into a viral moment. We're not just watching music history, we're watching a cultural earthquake that's shifting the ground beneath the entire industry. Hashtag Kendrick 1 million, hashtag K. versus Drake, hashtag rap culture, hashtag hip hop debates, hashtag Kendrick Lamar, hashtag Drake at Kendrick Lamar at Champagne Poppy. Kendrick Lamar's 1 million ticket milestone isn't just about bragging rights, it's about the future of hip-hop. This single achievement has reshaped the landscape in ways we're only beginning to understand. For years, the industry narrative was predictable: Drake dominates the charts, Kendrick dominates the critics, and everyone else fights for the scraps. But now? That script has been ripped apart, and the question on everyone's mind is, what happens next? First, let's talk about the new standard. Selling 1 million tickets is no small feat. It's the kind of milestone that forces other artists to look in the mirror and ask, am I really connecting with my audience, or just chasing hits? For rappers like J. Cole, Travis Scott, Tyler, The Creator, and even Kanye West, Kendrick has set a benchmark that's going to haunt every future tour announcement. Fans won't just ask, is the album good? They'll ask, can you sell 1 million tickets like Kendrick? That pressure is real. But the impact goes even deeper. Kendrick's success proves that you can be authentic, artistic, and commercially unstoppable at the same time. For younger artists coming up, this is a game changer. For too long, the message was, either sell out for mainstream success or stay underground for respect. Kendrick just proved you can have both. That lesson will inspire a new generation of rappers who no longer feel the need to compromise their vision. And then there's Drake. The big question, how does the Six God respond? If history is any guide, Drake won't stay silent forever. He's too competitive, too prideful, and too smart to let Kendrick hold the spotlight unchecked. Some insiders believe Drake might already be planning a worldwide megatour that would dwarf Kendrick's numbers. Others think he's sitting on unreleased music that could flip the conversation overnight. And then, of course, there's the nuclear option, a direct diss track aimed at Kendrick. Imagine the chaos if Drake dropped a record calling out Kendrick's ticket sales, artistry, or even his fans. Hip-hop Twitter would literally catch fire. But here's the twist, even if Drake responds, Kendrick has already shifted the narrative. Kendrick doesn't need to play defense, because his success speaks for itself. He doesn't need to rap about selling tickets, he already did it. That puts Drake in an unusual position. He has to prove he's still untouchable, while Kendrick simply has to exist. It's a rare reversal of power, and fans can feel it. Looking ahead, this rivalry could push both artists into their most creative eras yet. Competition breeds greatness, and hip-hop thrives on it. Just like Jay-Z versus Nas or Pac versus Biggie defined eras before them, Kendrick versus Drake is defining this one. Imagine the music that could come out of this rivalry, albums filled with subliminals, verses sharpened like knives, and performances designed to outshine the other. If that's where we're headed, fans are in for a golden age of hip-hop. But the ripple effects don't stop at Drake and Kendrick. The business of hip-hop is also changing. Labels and promoters are paying attention to what Kendrick just pulled off. They're realizing that fans are willing to spend big money on artists who feel genuine, who offer more than just catchy singles. Expect to see a wave of artists rethinking their strategies, less filler music, more substance, fewer releases, and bigger cultural moments. The industry might finally be shifting away from quantity and back toward quality. There's also the question of global impact. Kendrick's ticket sales weren't just in the US, he's pulling numbers worldwide. That matters. Hip-hop has always been global, but Drake was the one who seemed to dominate internationally with his pop-infused sound. Now Kendrick is proving that lyricism, storytelling, and artistry resonate just as powerfully across borders. This could inspire a new wave of international rappers to lean into authenticity instead of imitation. And let's not ignore the fan culture. Kendrick's milestone has turned his supporters into an army. They're not just fans anymore, they're evangelists, spreading the gospel of Kendrick online, defending his name in every thread, and dragging anyone who dares minimize his success. Drake's fans, meanwhile, are equally mobilized, fighting tooth and nail to remind everyone of his decade-long dominance. This clash of fanbases is fueling engagement, memes, and debates that are keeping hip-hop at the center of pop culture. It's tribal, it's chaotic, and it's addictive. In the long run, though, this moment might do something even bigger. It could redefine what it means to be the GOAT. For years, GOAT debates revolved around lyrical skill, album quality, or commercial success, usually separately. Now Kendrick is blending all three in a way we haven't seen before. If he keeps this momentum, he won't just be in the GOAT conversation, he'll be leading it. And if Drake can find a way to counter, the debate will rage on for years, keeping both men immortal in hip-hop history. Here's the shocking truth, this rivalry is bigger than both of them. It's about hip-hop itself. It's about proving that the genre is still evolving, still capable of shocking the world, still capable of producing legends who can compete on every level. In a world where people say hip-hop is dying or losing creativity, Kendrick Lamar just reminded everyone that the culture is alive, thriving, and more competitive than ever. So what's next? Maybe Drake drops a diss. Maybe Kendrick drops another classic. Maybe they both end up performing at the same festival, and the crowd has to choose sides in real time. Whatever happens, one thing is certain, hip-hop will never be the same after this. The future is unpredictable, but one thing is crystal clear, Kendrick Lamar just raised the stakes for everyone. And whether you're Team Drake, Team Kendrick, or just here for the fireworks, you're witnessing history in real time. Hashtag future of hip-hop, hashtag Kendrick vs Drake, hashtag rap legends, hashtag hip-hop history, hashtag music industry shift, hashtag KDOD, hashtag Drizzy at Kendrick Lamar at Champagne. And there you have it, Kendrick Lamar just shook the entire music industry with 1 million tickets sold, leaving even at Champagne and his army of fans stunned. But this is only the beginning. The rivalry is heating up, the culture is watching, and history is unfolding right before our eyes. Now the question is, where do you stand? Are you riding with hashtag Team Kendrick, celebrating the rise of the lyrical king? Or are you still holding strong with hashtag Team Drake, confident that the sixth god will clap back and reclaim the throne? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, we're reading everything. Smash that like button if you believe hip-hop is alive and thriving, and hit subscribe because this story is only getting bigger. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Share this video with your friends, tag at Kendrick Lamar and at Champagne, and let's keep this debate alive. Hashtag Kendrick vs Drake, hashtag hip-hop history, hashtag rap culture.